All right, good evening, everybody. It is 6 p.m. This is our regular board meeting for the month of August for the Town of Spencer Board of Aldermen. We are called to order, and Alderwoman Stanley is going to give our invocation tonight.
Let us pray. Gracious God, as we gather here tonight, we pause to give you thanks for the town we call home. We're grateful for the people of Spencer, for the families who build their lives here, for those who came before us and laid the foundation we now enjoy, and for those who will inherit the decisions we make today. Lord, remind us to be behind every agenda there is a decision. Are real people and real hopes and real lives. Help us to approach one another as neighbors. Give us heart to listen, mind to seek understanding, the spirit that values unity over division. Grant us wisdom to those who entrusted us with leadership, with decisions that are difficult. Guide us with courage and humility. When opinions are different, help us to treat one another with respect and grace. May every action taken in this room be motivated by a genuine desire to serve people of Spencer, strengthen the community we love. We ask your blessing upon our first responders, our teachers, our business owners, our workers, our children, and our senior citizens. Watch over those who are struggling, comfort those who are hurting, and inspire all of us to be good stewards of the gifts and opportunities you have given us. May this meeting reflect the very best of who we are as a community, caring, resilient, hopeful, united in our commitment to one another. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good to see everyone this evening. And board, we have before you your agenda. Are there any additions or deletions needed for the agenda tonight? And if not, is there a motion to adopt it?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
All right, thank you, Ms. Sledge. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Stanley. All in favor? All right. All opposed? And that is approved. We will move on now to our recognitions. We have one, Alderwoman Sechrist and Alderwoman Stanley are going to make a joint recognition this evening for our students, teachers, and volunteers returning to school.
Thank you. Alderman Stanley and I are the school liaisons from the town board, so that's why we're doing this together tonight. And she has been a wonderful asset in this capacity. Tomorrow is a very big day, the first day of school opening for the 26-27 school year. It's hard to believe. It seems like just yesterday that we just got out. School buildings are dazzling with fresh looks, ready to welcome all, students, staff, parents, and volunteers. Some of you may have even noticed that Whitehead Avenue has a new look all the way up to 3rd Street with bike trails, and I think that's going to be something students and staff will enjoy. And Charles Street has been repaved, so even the roads look and feel better. Principal Jonathan Clark, one of my former students, will be head administrator of both North High and North Middle, and Principal Rebecca Hunter is back at the helm of North Rand Elementary School. We are blessed to have our supportive community and volunteers, our capable leaders and staff, and our wonderful students, each with unique gifts to be discovered and developed. A salute to all of them as they pursue their best school year ever. In closing, I also want to recognize 3 citizens with North Rowan and Spencer connections. So you don't see this on the agenda because I didn't get it here in time. But anyway, I'm adding it now. They all have North Rowan and Spencer connections, as I said. Coach Larry Dixon, Coach Roger Sechrist, and Willie Knowles or William Knowles. Now, some of you will know all or 1 or 2 of them, but they were all 3 inducted into the Salisbury Rowan Sports Hall of Fame on Saturday, August the 8th. There were 9 inductees total, and the North Rowan area had 3 of those. So I thought that was pretty good that the smallest high school in the county has produced 3 winners that wound up in the Hall of Fame. Coach Larry Dixon graduated from North Rowan High School in 1990, and yes, I taught him too. And he was an outstanding basketball player while there. He was also a very solid student. He had solid play in a career at Johnson C. Smith before entering the coaching ranks. Some of you have probably followed his career, but he started out as an assistant at several high schools throughout North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, and then he went to 6 NCAA Division I colleges as an assistant coach before becoming head coach at Morehouse College in 2024. He was part of the NC State coaching staff when they made the run, I think a couple years ago in the tournament. All that diverse experience paid off with Larry because he wound up winning the Moorhead Conference Championship, and he said now they expect him to do that every year. Coach Roger Sechrist ranked 6th all-time in Rowan County football. Well, just one second. And I should know this by heart because he's my ex-husband. But I can't keep up with stats. Coach, with 115 wins while he was at North Rowan for 14 years. He led the Cavs to a 108-59 record and is remembered for his airport offense, explosive and entertaining. And if you were able to go to any of those games in the 90s or 80s, you probably really enjoyed it. He is also a WCU Sports Hall of Fame member since he was a member of Coach Bob Waters' great 1969 team. That's where he learned how to run an airport offense, too. Finally, Coach William Knowles was inducted with the Fred M. Evan Community Service Award, given to someone who has excelled in community service or positive community activities. He is credited with saving the Spencer Little League baseball program when the participation dropped in the 70s. Along with Phipps Farger, Knowles, and several other citizens, oversaw the construction of a second field and renovation of the main field known as the 8th Street Ballpark. That ballpark is now named Sparger Knowles Field. Said Sparger, if not for Willie Knowles, the Spencer Little League would have folded years ago. When he took over as president of our Little League, even then, everything that happened was good, starting with him. I might also add that Knowles also oversaw the concession stands, and some of you will remember his delicious hamburgers and hot dogs, which rivaled those at Crider's over on Long Street, sold at the concession stands throughout his tenure there. And he personally managed that and taught people his secrets so that those could be continued. A big congrats to these fine men for the imprint they've left on our town, our schools, and most importantly, our kids, our most valuable resource. And have a wonderful year.
Thank you, Ms. Sechrist. Ms. Stanley.
To our educators and students, together you are the heart of learning and growth. Educators, your passion, dedication, and belief in our students inspire future and transforms lives. Students, your curiosity, your perseverance, and willingness to learn make every challenge an opportunity for success. Remember that every lesson taught and every lesson learned is a step towards something greater. There will be days that will test your patience and your determination, but growth happens in those moments. Celebrate progress, embrace mistakes as learning opportunities, and never underestimate the impact you have on one another. Keep showing up with courage, kindness, and commitment to excellence. When the educators and students work together, classrooms become communities, dreams become goals, and goals become achievement. Keep learning, keep inspiring, keep believing. Your best is making the difference in every single day. Have a great school year.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Stanley. All right. We also have a recognition. Fire Chief Lanning is going to make a recognition of a couple staff members this evening. However, we are going to hold that until later because with the storm that just came through, our public works crews and our fire department are out responding to trees that are down, clearing them out of the roadways. So we hope that they are safe and are able to join us here shortly. All right. Any other recognitions for this evening that need to be made? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to public comment. I currently do not have anybody signed up for public comment, and so I always want to make sure, is there anyone here tonight that wishes to speak during public comment? Okay. Board, we'll move on to our consent agenda. And you have several items on the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda this evening?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Sechrist. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sledge. All in favor? Okay, all opposed? And the consent agenda is approved. All right, the next item is a presentation we're going to receive tonight from the Office of the State Auditor. We had the opportunity several weeks ago to meet with our local regional representative from the State Auditor's Office and had a great opportunity to meet with him and hear about all the stuff the State Auditor's Office does for our local municipalities. And with that, we invited him to come and give an update on what the State Auditor's Office is doing and kind of what their role is in state and local government. So, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me, Town of Spencer. I want to thank the board first and foremost for having me. And before I begin, what a small world. Alderwoman Sledge actually knows my grandparents. And that's just, you know, it's helpful to have a unique last name like Stiffel. But my name is Andrew Stiffel. I am the Charlotte Regional Field Manager for the North Carolina Office of the State Auditor. I want to thank you first and foremost for allowing me to address the board tonight. I wanted to come tonight really to just, introduce myself, let you know that we are here, we're present in the community, but kind of share a little bit more about, myself, State Auditor Bolick, and what our office does. So first and foremost, from the area, born and raised in Concord, as Ms. Sledge knows. I had grandparents here in the area, so Rowan, Cabarrus County, definitely home for me, but born and raised in the area, moved to Raleigh actually right after graduating high school, worked at the state legislature for 4 years while I was working full-time, getting my degree, did both at the same time, but gave me a great opportunity and a great learning experience and led me to the state auditor's office. So I've been here for a year now, and I serve as a community liaison with our office. So the first thing, as I told Mayor Williams when I met with him, was I work for the auditor, but I am not an auditor. So I serve as just an outreach representative and want to just, again, like I said, name and a face. We want to be a resource for you guys. So what our office does from a very high level view, we kind of have 3 pillars. It's accountability, transparency, and efficiency, and that comes from the taxpayer perspective. So our office, from a statutory perspective, we have the ability to audit any entity that has state or local taxpayer money. So that's any state government entity, any local government entity. That also includes private entities that have grants or contracts with the government that is receiving taxpayer money. So in total, it's about $100 billion statewide. What I do is not unique to just me. We have folks in Asheville, Greensboro, Greenville, and Wilmington as well, serving the whole state. We are a statewide office and want to have a statewide presence. What we have done, I think, in the last year and a half has taken a very proactive approach to the auditor's office. We want to meet with folks like yourself, hear from the community, hear firsthand from individuals on what we can be doing better to improve government for our citizens. So with Auditor Bolick, he was elected back in November of 24, has been in office for a year and a half, and that proactive approach, I think, has shown through our reports. Through said reports, we have 6 different divisions. We have our financial division, which handles our financial statement audits required by state statute. That's UNC Systems, schools, state government agencies, and community college systems. So that's just making sure that their numbers are up to speed. We have our performance division, which focuses on not just finances, but also kind of procedures, understanding why permitting might take so long, understanding what kind of bureaucracy or red tape might be hindering government efficiency, focusing on what we can do to kind of cut back that to make government faster. We have our investigative division, which handles our, as it's named, investigative side fraud, embezzlement, more so working with the SBI on that, on things like that. We have rapid response, which is a newer division. That one handles our, again, by the name, rapid response. A typical audit can take anywhere from 12 months to 16 months. Rapid response can put out a preliminary report within 2 to 5 months. That helps us kind of stay on top of things, help us stay in the know with the public, and keep them up to date, as well as kind of here are what are our findings, and here's what we're going to keep finding based on just that. The newest division is the Dave division that was started last year through the 2025 mini budget that passed. That is the Division of Accountability, Value, and Efficiency. That one is focusing on lapsed salaries across the state. So we are exploring ways and exploring why there might be so many open positions. For example, with Dave, we actually found through the North Carolina Highway Patrol, they had a couple $1 million in lapsed salaries that was being spent. We went to the colonel and asked him, and it turns out that he was using that for gas money for his troopers, which understandably so. But because of that finding, we were able to take that recommendation back to the General Assembly, and they were in turn gave the State Highway Patrol more money to then fund gas for their troopers. So now no more lapsed salaries, troopers have gas money. Our other two divisions, we have IT, which handles infrastructure across the state. So we do security searches, for lack of a better term, across state agencies, just to make sure there's no lapses, just to make sure that everyone is up to speed on information technology and things like that. And lastly, the sixth division is kind of everything else, the executive team. So we have, of course, legal, communications, where I fall under, external relations, scheduling, things like that, just to make sure that our office is running accordingly to plan. So like I mentioned, Auditor Bullock elected last November and has really taken that proactive approach. His background, born and raised in Lincolnton, so a little bit down the road, but at least somewhat in the area, at least the area I cover. Went to Chapel Hill for his undergraduate degree, and then ended up going to Campbell for a dual master's and law degree. Worked in Fayetteville for about 25 years in the private sector as an attorney. Served on the UNC Chapel Hill Board of Trustees, where during his time there actually started the Committee on Value and Efficiency at UNC Chapel Hill, exploring rather why, he always tells a story. They had at the time, I want to say 27 different budgets. Why not have one? So it was exploring ways that we can consolidate efforts and improve that efficiency. That was his experience on the Board of Trustees and what led him to become state auditor. But as I stand before you today, I think that proactive approach and what we're doing today has really improved and also encouraged our efforts to be more accountable to folks. From our office's perspective, we have our own dashboard. You can go on our website today and see exactly how we spend every single penny that we spend. You can see all of our reports of where we're trying to hold folks accountable, or whatever it may be. But I think, as we keep moving forward throughout this year and next, our biggest audits, I would say, to look at would be our DMV performance audit. We issued that one last year, and a lot of folks think that our audits are a piece of paper that kind of wags the finger, right? Telling people what they might have done wrong. But in reality, it is truly a recommendation. We sit down with these folks when we do our audits. We have entrance and exit conference when we do these audits. And we sit down with them. We ask them, what do you think is wrong? We do our audit, and then we sit down with them at the end and say, here's what we found. Tell us where you think we might be wrong. And I think that allows us a different opportunity compared to maybe typical audits, where we are able to get that direct feedback and then form that into recommendations. And that allows us to have that follow-up with folks. So the DMV audit I just mentioned was one where the auditor and the DMV commissioner, they meet quarterly to say, hey, we gave you 12, 13 different recommendations. Where are you at with step 1 through 13? And we keep doing that follow-up to ensure that those recommendations are being taken to ensure that the citizens of North Carolina are being properly served. As we keep looking forward, I think, the town of Spencer, I think Rowan County have been doing a great job. So kudos to you guys. I think everything is great here. We're going to keep working in this region. And at the end of the day, we just want, again, to be a name and a face. So anytime you encounter any sort of inefficiencies, lack of accountability, lack of transparency, whether it's from a state perspective, local perspective, or even a federal perspective, let us know, because we just want to be that resource for you guys. We want to be able to ensure that not necessarily we, but that anything is not hindering you from doing your jobs. You know, you have a lot of work ahead of you from supporting public works, law enforcement, fire department, as the mayor mentioned, out responding to calls as we speak. If there is any sort of hindrances that prevent you guys from doing your work, we want to know, and we want to be a resource for you to help ensure that that work is done as efficiently and as effectively as possible. You know, I think from our perspective, we want the government to kind of have a business mindset, right? That turnaround where it's the cliche of, well, I turned it into the government. I guess we'll see, right? We don't want that to be the cliche across the board. And that's what I think we've been working and striving and honestly doing a very good job at improving. So anytime you guys encounter something like that, please let us know. I think I've given every one of you my cards. I know the clerk has my information as well. So anytime that you encounter something like that, please let me know. I'm here in the region, live in Harrisburg, work down in Charlotte, but as I told Miss Sledge, I'm up in this area plenty. So y'all just let me know. Again, kudos to all the work you're doing. Transportation Museum is doing great. We love to see that. It's such a great asset for not just y'all as a town, but also for our state. And it's an amazing, wonderful resource for our children, our students, but also just for our citizens. So again, my name's Andrew Stiffel, State Auditor's Office. Please let me know if there's anything we can do for you. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stippel. We appreciate the commitment to continuous improvement in government. So thanks for all you're doing.
Mr. Mayor,
Board, any questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor, would it be appropriate to ask Mr. Stiffel if he could find us some more money for roads? Because they only did half of Charles Street.
It's
Yeah, I know.
funny because I actually talked with him about that as being one of the things that gets in the way is Powell bill funding.
And I can assure you too, Ms. Sledge, we have been looking into that. That is something that, it's not that anything is wrong necessarily, but it's an inefficiency, and that's something that needs to be improved. So we have been looking into that, and we've been working on that. I have my summer intern Alderman here with me tonight, hopefully learning a little something, but she's been helping me with that Powell bill funding actually. So hopefully that's something that we can work on for you and the town as well. And also, I forgot to mention, I am happy to stand for any questions if there's any others.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you both
Thank
so
you
much.
so
for
much.
being here. Are we going to wait for Chief Lanning to join us? Okay, very good. I see our hard workers have made it back safely.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on then to our next item on the agenda, and that is we'll receive a presentation from Eddie Snow on an update on group insurance renewal process for 2026-2027.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Board. I'm Lee Snow with Snow Benefits Group.
I don't know why I
Digital.
said Eddie. I'm sorry.
It's fine. That's,
Maybe you look like
I
Eddie. I don't
answer
know.
anything. I'm here tonight just to give you a little update. Obviously, we got the bad news last year. Then your renewal is December 1. We got the news last year that Blue Cross and Blue Shield in North Carolina would no longer let us stay on the grandfather plan. So we will not be getting a renewal for the December 1, but we will be getting quotes from Blue Cross for other plans that are ACA compliant plans that we'll also go United, Aetna, Cigna, and there's about 20 other smaller carriers, TPAs, that are doing some level premium self-funded plans that we've had some success with. Just wanted you to know we're all over this thing. Snow Benefits Group has had the town's insurance benefits for quite a while, and we're not looking to get fired. So we're going to be looking under every rock out there trying to find the best benefits for your employees that we can find. Give you one glimpse of what hopefully is going to happen for you guys as well. I had a group that was on September 1 renewal. They had a grandfather plan. They got pushed off the grandfather plan. They got a renewal from Blue Cross with an ACA compliant plan that was 95.3% increase. So not a fun meeting to go have that conversation. Luckily, we got busy. We went out to all the places we're going to go for you guys, and we came back in with a plan that was a level premium self-funded plan at a 10% undercurrent for very similar rates. So we are having some success. I'm confident that we'll come back with something that will be something everybody can live with. I hate we're losing the plan we're losing, but that's just where we're at. But I'll be glad to answer any questions, or Peter and Anna know how to get in touch with me, and Patty does too. So we'll be here soon. I did talk to Blue Cross today. I hope to have their offering by the end of August. We're trying to push them to get us this stuff as quick as possible, because we've got a lot of people coming off these grandfather plans that we need to get busy, because it's like a brand new group, really, and that's the way we're looking at it. So it'll take some time to get it done once we land someplace. Any questions?
Ms. Sage has a question.
Mr. Snow,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
know that the Chambers of Commerce have started a new small business plan. Is that something that possibly might be something that you would look at for us?
Absolutely. I was just telling Peter earlier, my experience with that's Carolina Health Works through the Chamber plan, and when that first came out, we were really excited about it. We thought, man, what perfect timing! These grandfather plans are sort of going away. That's going to be a perfect fit. We probably sold 8 or more plans through them, but they've all been very small groups. They've all been, under 10 lives. Today, I got a quote for a November 1 through the Chamber plan, through the Carolina Health Works, that actually was really, really good. And it's like a 35 life group, so not too far away from where you guys are. So I was very encouraged by that. That's the first time I've seen that's not a large group, but it's the first time I've seen a group over 10 that we got a good quote from that. And that absolutely is going to be one of the places we go as well. There's probably 25 different places we're going to go to try to get a quote. And some we'll get a quote from, some we won't. But we're going to them and we're asking. And we'll bring you the cream of the crop once we get everything. Any other questions?
Any other questions? All right.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate the work for us. All right. The next item, we're going to receive a presentation from the Rowan County Master Gardeners about a proposed pollinator garden at our Yadkin River Park Trailhead in memory of Mrs. Jean McCoy. Good evening, Mr. Morris, and we welcome the Master Gardeners group.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks.
It's with a great sense of honor and privilege to introduce the director of Rowan County Cooperative Extension Service and her role leading the Master Gardeners program. But I wanted to add that it was only 3 years ago that we, on September 8th, I believe, that we dedicated the Yadkin River Park Trailhead. And at that ceremony, I had the privilege of being with my good friend, Jean McCoy. Jean was a friend to Pam and I for many years, and we enjoyed being in her garden and spending time with Jean and her husband, Rick. And it became one of our favorite things to do every year, to go to the coffee and cutting that she would always have as a fundraiser for animal faithful friends and other animal advocacy groups. And so Jean was a dear friend to me. And at that ceremony, there was a little area along the walkway there. And Jean said, well, what are you going to do with this? Because we had no landscaping there. And I said, how about you and I get together and do a pollinator garden? And she said, absolutely. You can count me in. We're going to do that. And a few weeks later, she had a diagnosis that proved to be terminal illness. And so we never quite got that done. And so I'm extremely pleased to welcome all these folks who have taken up the mantle of this idea as a contribution to our community. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Amy Lynn. And so I'll get out of your way, Amy Lynn. There's a clicker there. Just help yourself.
Well, and I do want to have my volunteers, if they could stand up, please, just so I can have you recognize that they're here today in support of this. So, welcome! Like Joe said, Jean was one of our Master Gardener volunteers. And she was a volunteer here in Rowan County before I came to Rowan. I came to Rowan County in 2016, and Jean was a volunteer for many years before I came here, and she was well known throughout the community for being a cut flower grower. We all enjoyed coming to visit her, and she was such a delight. We enjoyed visiting her garden. She was a beloved resident here and a dedicated Master Gardener volunteer. She had a lifelong commitment to horticulture and community education. It was very important to her. And so we really feel like this would be a vibrant, living tribute reflecting her lasting impact to your town. So the idea is to transform the Wilcox Bridge into a pollinator haven. This is an AI-generated pollinator garden. So just to give you that right off the bat, like I don't want to take any credit for this, but what I did do was put in some prompts to say, like, we want to use these plants in this garden. So this is a potentially what it could look like at full growth. So we went out to the bridge, took photos, looked at it with Joe, and talked about what would be needed to make this happen. So we know that we would need to get water all the way to the bridge to get things established. Once things are established, we wouldn't need water anymore for these types of plants. And we definitely want to incorporate plants that we knew Jean loved well, which include Rudbeckia, Echinacea, but especially zinnias. Zinnias are an annual, but we can sprinkle those in annually and make them work. And the perennial verbenas, which are the Verbena bonariensis, and those are all in this design. So this creates a vital connectivity to local bees, butterflies, and birds. And we really feel like this will connect like a natural gateway to the bridge, which I know is a part of Spencer's plan to create that gateway into Rowan County and to the connecting Davidson and Rowan County, but also the gateway to Spencer. So that's the idea. These are all, like I said, these are all pollinator plants, which are a big part of what we do as Master Gardeners. And in fact, you are all invited to our pollinator census party, which is happening on August 21st at the Old Concord Road at our old office. Jennifer Board is taking lead there, and she's one of your Spencer residents. That'll be happening at what time, Jennifer? 11. Yes. We have a goal to make Rowan County #1 in the pollinator census, where we're taking account of all the pollinators that we can find on that day. But this is one of our major goals, is to plant more plants to attract more pollinators to our area. And so this would really help with that, with this pollinator bridge. So part of this plan, what we would provide is a landscape design and a maintenance plan and support with installation and fundraising. You know that we have recently moved to the old Salisbury Mall, which is now the Rowan Community Center. And we are moving all of our plants from the old Concord Road building. And we have a lot of pollinator plants already established there, and we have to move all of those plants. Currently, I have nowhere to put those plants at my new location because my garden is not established yet at the new location. So we have a lot of pollinator plants that we could move to this pollinator bridge, that we would like to donate some of those to this project. So we would have some support with some plants there. We also have several nurseries that would be also interested in helping with this project. So we know we have some support in that end. We would like to work with you in the town of Spencer for you to provide some. We know you have a lot of compost. We've heard that rumor quite often. And the irrigation and infrastructure, and covering some of the cost of the plant material, other material. We could do a phased installation, and we want to prioritize resilient native species. So this would be a partnership and action plan with our Master Gardener Volunteers Initiative and the Spencer Community Development. We know that Jean was a well-loved person, and we feel like there will be lots of support for this project. So the action requested is that an official board of Alderman approval to commence the site preparation. Are there any questions for us as Master Gardeners or from Cooperative Extension?
Thank you, Amy Lynn. Board, any questions?
Sure. I always have questions.
Sure.
The information says that you are considering strategic placement
Yes.
at the bridge.
Yes.
Will you actually have things on the bridge, or?
It's actually so in that location is like along the walkway, the pathway between the fence line and the walkway. There's nothing planted there, and so that's where we're looking to plant all along that walkway.
Oh, okay, but not specifically on the bridge.
Not on the
Okay,
bridge.
I
It's
wondered
on the
if-
pathway, all the way
Okay.
along the bridge. Yeah.
And as a reminder, we would have to coordinate with Davidson County
Right.
if it was on the bridge.
Right.
Although that is a
Davidson
great
County
idea because I
owns the
love the
bridge.
flowering bridge in Lake
In Lake Lord, right? Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
which
I
is
think,
no longer,
I think
unfortunately.
everything we looked at though was on your
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. Right. Okay, but that was the coordination.
It was on the leading up to the bridge, I
Right.
guess, to be correct.
Okay.
It's on that pathway leading to the actual bridge
Right.
is what we were looking at.
I'll predict the pollinators won't know Friday.
Which side of county? They will not, and they will cross back and forth.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're not restricted to native planting in that. I know
No.
our park out front was, but that part is not. Is that correct?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know the answers to that.
So, yeah, the requirement for the native plant installation is a function of the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund
Right.
grant. This was not a Parks and Recreation Trust Fund grant. But let me add, that requirement is a function of financing those plantings. If we want to add non-natives, that's at our expense.
Okay.
So,
Right.
Yeah,
The
but
funds for the grant could only be used for native.
Native plants. Okay, very good.
It sounded like the proposed plantings were going to largely be native.
Largely, yes. That was our proposal, that the majority would be native, but there would be a few that might be non-native to add a little color.
So just to reiterate, the proposed garden that you're wanting for the pollinator, in reference to caring for it, would that be done by you all as master gardeners?
No,
or the town?
that we would provide a maintenance plan for the
Okay.
town of Spencer.
All right, I knew that would be an interesting question.
Yeah. But these are primarily very, very low maintenance plants that would not require very little of any maintenance at all. Like probably just replacement if something dies, or that would be some basics of what we would need to do. That's the idea behind this, is that you wouldn't need to do very much maintenance. It pretty well takes care of itself. And
So cutting back in the springtime before
if
the
you
spring.
needed to do any cutting back, it would be very little.
Yep.
Yeah.
So who's going to train you?
So, one more thing, as far as moving your plants from your current location over here, how much time? I mean, do you have?
Well, the county has given us the deadline of November 30th to get rid of all of our plants from over there.
Yeah. So we need to move on this.
Right, but we have a location to move them to temporarily until we have a more permanent plan. The other plan that we would like to also include with this is a QR code with the overall planting, so that it's educational.
Right.
So that will direct people back to NC State's plant toolbox, so people will can identify all of the plants that are planted in the garden. So if they want to know more about those plants, they can refer back to that state website and they can learn more about that. So that's one of the other things that we would like to incorporate into this garden. So there would actually be a diagram laying out, and then they can scan that QR code, and that'll take them to the NC State plant. It's their our plant toolbox, and there you can learn more about every single plant on there, and then that's where they can get more information about.
And this amount, $600, is that the cost?
Where that came
The dollar amounts, approximately $600, would be provided by the town.
So I've been working with Joel and Heather on the small amount of money that would be required to do the installation of the irrigation line from remnant funds from the construction of the park project to begin with. The planting estimate that Amy Lynn did was just sort of a ballpark number, and I have assurances from many friends of Jean that fundraising will not be an issue. So we should be able to handle that.
And when Joe makes assurances, he always comes through. So.
Jean was a lovely lady.
Yeah,
Jean was a lovely lady.
Yeah.
We'll forget that.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Are you any way you're going to recognize Ms. McCoy on this?
Right.
So,
And that, we wanted to put her name out there somehow, like on a bench or in something that was not removable. Our gardeners, we did discuss this at length on like what was some way that we could have something that was permanently out there, recognizing Jean, that would not be easily vandaled or removed.
Yeah.
And so we had some discussion about how that could be done. We didn't really come up with a full plan. Yeah, we wanted to keep looking at the site to think about it some more, not to take away from the bridge or the walkway leading up to the bridge, but trying to like think about that. Like, could it go like on one of the posts? Could we put a plaque there? Trying to look at some certain things, like trying to look at that. We did discuss even moving into the center bed. We didn't want to go too far. Like, we were like, we're going to stick with the walkway first.
Yeah.
But we did talk about maybe putting a bench or something in the middle bed,
right.
And having something there.
I think it would be great if we could actually do some type of bronze plaque in the walkway itself.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
That would
Leading
be,
into
I
it.
think that would
It's
be
kind of
wonderful.
an entrance to the garden.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to say thank y'all very much. Thanks for the work you do in Rowan County, and gardening is one of my hobbies too. So I appreciate all that y'all do, and for coming to us. And Joe, thank you for coming up with this idea. You and Jean both together, and what a fitting way to recognize her.
Okay.
So thank you all.
That's wonderful.
So with that, board, we will consider a motion to authorize the site preparation for pollinator garden.
I make the motion to authorize the site for the pollinator garden.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Miss Moody. Got it. All right. Any discussion? All in favor? Oh, yes.
One clarification. If we designated it on, I think I provided some language.
Okay.
So,
So, as a friendly amendment to the motion,
my apologies.
Yeah.
no, that's fine. Making sure, Mayor Pro Tem, you're good with that amendment?
Sure.
All right. And Miss Moody, making
Thanks,
sure
sir.
you're good with that amendment.
sir.
All right.
Authorize the staff to work with members of the Rowan County Master Gardeners Association to design and create a pollinator garden at the Yakima River Park Trailhead in memory of Jean McCoy.
Okay. Board, all in favor? All right. All opposed? And that is approved unanimously. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
I will say, keep our board informed as you begin the process, because we'd love to help out as part of the planning, whether you need help relocating plants or planting the plants out here. Yeah. Thank
I'll
you.
try not to touch anything alive though, because it will die. But I can carry up non-living things for us.
Thank you
Hey,
all.
Murphy is good at watering plants.
I thought of that.
Well, if he would help anything else.
All right. Board will move to our next item, and that is to consider authorizing staff on the proposed restriping of Salisbury Avenue, US Highway 29 from Jefferson Street to the Yadkin River Bridge, adding bike lanes and a center turn lane. Mr. Blunt.
Mayor, members of the board, before I launch into this, I hoped I would have a chance to introduce you to my favorite master gardener. My wife was here tonight as a part of it. But she snuck out. She knew I was going to try to embarrass her.
I'm surprised she did not speak at public comment about chickens.
You saw this presentation last week at the public hearing, but not a public hearing. You just saw this presentation before. We're going to run through it again for the viewing public, and then I have a few comments after that. So this is an extension of the project that started about 2 years ago, where we provided bike lanes and a road diet on the Salisbury Avenue from 17th Street to Jefferson. Doing this from Jefferson to the river is what we're talking about now, and there are various reasons for doing this. One of them is traffic calming. Anytime you have a long, flat road like this is actually Jake Alexander Boulevard, but it would look the same way out here on Salisbury Avenue and US Highway 29. There's an implied speed limit, and you can imagine going down a road that looks like that it really sort of looks to some people like a drag strip, and therefore people go fast. So we try to incorporate narrower lanes, bike lanes, and more sophisticated projects. You would have bump outs and crosswalks and all kinds of things that would lower that implied speed limit. Probably not down to the actual speed limit of 20 miles an hour, but certainly try to get it down to the 35 and 45 that section of the road has. The NCDOT has their Complete Streets program, and when we started working on this portion out in front of the building, we reminded them that they came up with this idea of taking streets and making them more than just a place for cars. This was a picture out of their pamphlet that I think expresses it. The road is certainly for cars, that's the primary use of it. But in this picture, you see this being used as a sidewalk for people to walk, bike lanes for people to bike, and designated crosswalks so people can get to the amenities on both sides of the street. The town worked with East Spencer on a plan that was funded by NCDOT back in 2016 and created a comprehensive bicycle and pedestrian plan for our two towns. And in that plan, this map shows you those arrows point to Salisbury Avenue, US Highway 29. And as a part of that plan, the very first top priority was to put bike lanes and sidewalks along that corridor. So you are now accomplishing something that was planned back in 2016. When I first came here, one of the first presentations I made to this board was talking about the nodes and connectors. The community had a lot of amenities, a lot of assets, but it lacked a way to connect those together to get a multiplier effect out of them. This map, that yellow dotted line, again, is the bike lane, greenways, pathways that would connect our downtown, Standback Forest, to all the amenities in the town, and then run out to the Yadkin River District development that we foresee in the not too distant future. This is EB 5861, the same thing, that yellow dotted line. Every plan we have done, every grant we've gotten, every grant we pursue at this time has some component that's trying to make those connections. And this is what you're getting ready to accomplish. This is one of my favorite slides from the last one. It's not Spencer, it's not Salisbury. I don't know where this slide came from, but as an avid bicyclist, I love those bike lanes, and all of us do. And surprisingly, the runners like them too. Apparently they're in better shape than sidewalks are in most cases. So I have to avoid runners when I'm out riding my bike. This is a blow up of what they intend to do with that highway. There will be 10.5 foot wide traffic lanes, a 12 foot wide center turn lane, and then the bike lanes, because the road varies slightly in width, the bike lanes will be where the difference is made up. So it will vary from 4 feet to 8 feet in some places. I'll show you some more details. This is just their basic cross sections showing those same dimensions. This is actually the NCDOT maps, and You might remember that on the Salisbury Avenue portion that we did a couple years ago, we actually had to hire a consultant to do the design. And that was money that the town paid. We split the cost with NCDOT. When we did the Whitehead bike lanes, at the end of the project, at least some of their staff thought that we were supposed to pay for the signage that showed that it was bike lanes. The powers that be at NCDOT decided they would pay for that. Luckily on this project, because it is partially in the municipal limits, but mostly out in the outside of our municipal limits, NCDOT has agreed to cover the whole cost of design and installation of the bike lanes and the striping. So these are the detailed maps that show how that will be done. All those technical little dots there, the T100s and T2s, are referencing the type of markings that will be on the pavement. We'll get to some more detailed ones. This is Long Ferry Road intersection that you can see that the bike lanes sort of stop at the Longs Ferry Road. It would be nice, in my opinion, if they went across, but that's just a bicyclist talking to you. This is the way NCDOT does it. This one I'll stop right here for a minute. It was asked at some point, do the businesses out there have a concern? I talked to Carl Ritchie, who is Cliff Ritchie's son, today. Also talked to the owner of Swing Transport. They are both very much in favor of the restripe. They have no concerns. They like the idea of the center turn on to give them safety. So again, I'll jump through these. This is how it ends out at the park that you just were looking at in your previous presentation. We have talked to NCDOT. They actually show it, the bike lanes going all the way out to the bridge. And we have suggested that because our park, and I'll show you a better picture in this one. We have a parking lot which has an access road into it. On the end of it where it comes to North Carolina Finishing Lane is where the existing trail stops. So those yellow arrows, we have suggested to NCDOT that either they terminate the bike lanes at that right-hand portion, or they actually maybe put some signs up that indicate they should turn into that area. If you've ever been out on the bridge, they actually have the bike lanes designated on the bridge itself, on the Wilcox Bridge. This is what it looks like from the road view, and apparently soon the master gardeners will make it much more beautiful than it is today. And with that, I will answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Blunt. Board questions? Okay. Well, board, you have received the proposal, and we will accept a motion at this time to authorize staff to move forward with NCDOT with this restriping plan.
I move to instruct our staff to begin the process of the restriping in conjunction with the DOT. Is that what I needed to say?
I think so. I think that works.
Second.
It's a motion by Ms. Sledge, second by Mayor Pro Tem. All in favor? All right. All opposed? And that's approved unanimously. Thank you all.
I will add to the presentation that as we found out on the Whitehead project, and really found out on the Salisbury Avenue project originally, they let a group of repaving projects at one time, and then they give the contractor the authority to pick which one comes in what sequence, and they give them like a 12 to 18 month period to actually get them all done. So there's no guarantee as to when this will happen, but sometime towards the end of 2027, early 2028. And Mr. Ritchie asked that very question because they're getting ready to start moving into that building. They want to make sure it wouldn't upset his move-in.
The timing now was largely due to the DOT's planning process, and certainly appreciate their collaboration with us on this. Because of getting this feedback now, they're able to put all this into their plan specs so that when the project goes to bid, it'll all automatically be factored in when they're looking at pavement and striping and all that sort of thing. So this is going to be a lot smoother of a process in terms of working through the construction side of things, and it's more. This is different because it's going to be factored in before the project even goes out to bid, rather than kind of a tack on after the project's been bid.
Mr. Blunt,
Yes, sir.
there's one concern that I have that's not with this part of the restriping, but up there at Food Line, when you're coming into town and you want to turn in there at Food Line, the way that road is marked, we're making illegal movements to make a left turn into the Food Line unless you go all the way down to the other end of their parking lot and come in that way. Is there anything that needs to be done about that?
We can raise that question with NCDOT, but it's entirely in their hands as far as how they mark it. And they probably have standard distances from the intersection where they have to have the divided markers, knowing that people are probably going to turn across.
Well, I mean, every time I turn in there, I'm thinking, if I get hit, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. We'll raise that question with them. Surprisingly, we have a great working relationship with NCDOT on a lot of different projects. Mr. Ritchie shared with me in our conversation, I had left him a message to tell him I need to talk to him about NCDOT project on that road. He said, you made me have a heart attack because that's the reason we're moving out of their facility. NCDOT is running a road through their property and basically condemning their property. So he was afraid that might be happening here.
Thank you very much. Peter, do we want to go ahead and do the recognition? I think we have everybody there.
Yeah, I believe so. That would be good.
So, Steve, we'll pause your presentations for a moment. And Chief Lanning, we'll invite you forward. So we have a few fire department recognitions the Chief is going to make this evening. And I know y'all have been out removing trees.
No. Power, we couldn't really, we tried. We even tried to locate where the power was out. But Mayor and Board, good afternoon. Just want to take the opportunity to, although Deputy Chief Keyser's been with us for a little over a year and a half now, just to celebrate his reclassification from part-time deputy chief to full-time. He hit the ground running, and this next recognition I'm actually going to give to him to do because it very much is a result of his labor of love in instilling and putting in the time and effort to develop the next generation of firemen. So to have him beside me, one, is nothing shy of the support that each of you have for our town and for the public safety that we're able to provide. So look forward to the future and honored to have him serving beside me and leading our organization.
Nothing special other than just, I can sing the national anthem.
Hey, that sounds good.
No, I'm very pleased and happy to have the opportunity to be the very first historical deputy chief for the town of Spencer. That speaks volumes, and I'm very, very satisfied for the opportunity and the privilege.
Well,
and the one thing I'm going to have to say is at the end of July, he successfully completed UNC Charlotte's Fire and EMS Administrative Leadership certificate course. So that was 60, 70 hours, and so he completed that, knocked it out. So he's definitely hit the ground running.
I think that both of you did.
We'll
be honest about
We're
that.
talking about him, but
All right.
yes. Yeah. So he's definitely hit the ground running and already showcasing his dedication as if he didn't in the last year. But so making strides every day for success and chasing perfection, although we'll never reach it, but try our best. Awesome.
Deputy Chief, thanks for all you're doing. Thanks for choosing Spencer, and congratulations on the promotion to full-time. Yeah.
So we hired our crew in October of last year. Hired Allison in January, straight out of Rome Bears School. And both of them, again, hit the ground running. And so under Chief Keyser's guidance, he developed an updated probationary package, which included about 160 hours of additional training on top of their 20 to 30 they get every month. And both of these individuals, as of last month, successfully completed that. That came with a complimentary shower that was slightly chilled, but so I just wanted to also take the time to congratulate them and wish them well. Future success here.
They've done a lot of work. I will say that each and every day that they came to work, both during the business day, during the week, and on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, that the amount of training that was put into each and every one of these, not just these two, but the other individuals that trained with them, that wasn't just an hour or two. Sometimes it was 8 hours a day that they were having to train to meet the standards that we've imposed on them, that we are currently and futuristically holding every employee within our department to, starting from the ground up. And the summer was really hot, and on days that it was still sweltering and soaring well into the triple digits on the heat index, they were still out training, still out dedicating themselves to the standards that we're putting on them. So to say that, oh, you completed your probationary packet, good for you, okay, that's cool and all the things, but it really is a testament of a lot of the commitment that they've had to put in, and followed up with a nice cold shower. So, I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the products that we're putting out of our department. So I will say that.
Well, thank you.
You can sing.
I don't sing.
Me either.
Chief Lanning and Chief Keyser have done an amazing job. I'm certainly looking forward to the growth here. It's been amazing to work with all the Spencer staff and all the Spencer Fire Department, and they're a ton of fun. And they certainly have put in good standards for us to work towards and keep achieving towards, and they also continue to push us each day to better ourselves to serve this community better.
I just appreciate the opportunity to serve the citizens of Spencer. I'm really happy, and I will try my best every day to serve the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you all for all you do every day, and everything you're doing for our businesses and our citizens. And thanks for choosing Spencer and being a part of our team. All right, Mr. Blunt, we'll invite you back up. The next item is to consider adopting ordinance 26-10 for annexation of Rowan County GIS system parcel 049003, located at about 850 Hackett Street.
And it is about 850 Hackett Street because that used to be the address of the house that was there, and it's no longer there. So this is the annexation of parcel 049003. It was once known as the Fisher Lamb site as far as the economic development community. It is a 98-acre site on the north side of Hackett Street near Inspect. It's part of the North Carolina Finishing Company industrial park development that Samet is doing with us and for us. It was previously, as I indicated, a farm and home site. The house has been removed. The brownfield study has pretty much removed this one from consideration because it was never used for industrial uses. It was always a farm. They were requesting annexation so that they can connect to municipal water and sewer to serve the various buildings in this area that will be developed in the future. And as I've mentioned before, it is currently zoned to IND, which is the appropriate zoning for that use. This is where the site is located. And we'll zoom in a little bit. You can see I-85 to the east, the solar farm to the northwest, Inspect right across the street, right across Hackett Street. This shows you some of the other areas that we have annexed into the town of Spencer in the past years. This is a survey drawing, and it's turned about 90 degrees, so that's the railroad at the top in this case, whereas normally you would see it to the left-hand side. But gives you a little more detailed layout of how the site is. And this is the one that's probably more near and dear to you, is what's going to happen in the future. So that blue portion at the bottom of that map is the Fisher Lamb site that's being annexed, and the purpose for that annexation is to build those industrial buildings. The northern part is a part of the North Carolina Finishing Company site. That was annexed many years ago when there was a possibility of building a racetrack on this property. So that project did not come to fruition, and that's good because now we can get some new industrial buildings to help our tax base and employment numbers. We always look at a cost benefit as far as annexations go, and with almost every industrial commercial type annexation, they're very low cost as far as fire protection, police protection, garbage pickup, and yard waste. But there's a lot of benefit as far as tax base and job creation. So those numbers are there for your perusal. And that's that. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Blunt. Board, any questions on this annexation request? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to adopt ordinance 26-10 for annexation of Rowan County GIS parcel 049003?
I move that we adopt ordinance 26-10, annexing Rowan County GIS system parcel 049033, located about 850 Hackett Street.
All right, there's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sledge. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, all opposed, and that is approved unanimously. All right, next item.
And a representative of the developer is here tonight. If you had any questions, every time I see him, I ask him when it's going to get started, so I'll keep you posted on it.
Very good. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for your remarks at the hearing last week. All right, the next item is to consider adopting ordinance 26-11, annexing Rowan County GIS system parcels 044077 and 044019 on Lincoln Avenue.
And that is exactly what we're looking at. We are starting to see some more of these smaller annexations, and at next month's meeting, at a suggestion from the mayor, I will be making a presentation based on the philosophy of annexation and growth in our community and future costs that you might have to think about. So that's in preparation, almost complete. We'll have it on the September agenda. But in this case, it's two small lots. The developer is building duplexes on those lots. He wants to connect to the water line in Lincoln Avenue, and because it's in our ETJ, they can't do that unless they get our permission. Our permission goes along with them requesting annexation. We might not have even suggested that you approve this annexation, except for the fact that in the past, and I'll skip through these very quickly. In the past, you approved the annexation of 10 other lots on Lincoln, and since you already have 10 out there, adding 2 more does not add to the cost of the annexation as far as services provided. This is the 1903 plat of that area, showing Lincoln Avenue and some cross streets. When it was developed, Lincoln Avenue was built, the water line was put in later on. The sewer line runs down Grass Creek. The crossroads were never built, but we are hearing from some developers as we run out of developable lots with some interest in actually extending some of these roads out to build on the back lots. So we might be seeing more annexation in this particular subdivision. This is the drawing that shows those other 10 lots that have been annexed and have been approved for development. They ran into a snag as far as the size of the water line that's in the ground. It's big enough to the new lots that you're looking at annexing tonight, so they can go ahead and build theirs. The line's going to have to be increased in size to serve those other 10 lots. They originally petitioned SRU for a water line approval for single-family homes, and when they came back and said they decided to build duplexes, it doubled the number of flushes per day, and therefore the line's not big enough. They're working on that to make it work out. And staff suggests approval of the annexation for those various reasons. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you again. Board, any questions on this one? Okay, hearing none, we'll consider a motion to adopt ordinance 26-11 for annexation of GIS system parcels 044077 and 044019 on Lincoln Avenue.
So moved.
So motion by Ms. Moody. Is there a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, all opposed? And that annexation is approved unanimously. All right, I'm going to invite Mr. Morris forward. And, oh, okay, I'm going to invite Mrs. Cannon forward.
Pointing.
I thought we were going to get an update on projects, but okay. All right, so this item is to consider adopting budget ordinance amendment 25-10.001 for accepting $100,000 from the Blanche and Julian Robertson Foundation, $25,000 from the Carolina Thread Trail Rolling Grant, and $5,000 from Duke Energy as matching funds for the Great Trails State Program grant of $460,000 for the Rocky Branch Loop Trail in Standback Educational Forest. Mrs. Can.
That's a mouthful, right? So, just an explanation of the project budget ordinance was that we have received those funds that you mentioned, but when we were granted the Great Trails State Program grant of $460,000, those monies that we received were the matching funds for that grant. So now that we have received the grant, we are amending that project budget to put everything into place for that project. So that's basically what this ordinance is.
Okay. Board, any questions on the financial updates that are being made to the project fund?
And Mayor, if I will, and Joe, you may wind up walking up anyway. We are working on. You'll recall, or some of y'all who were here at the time will recall a few years back that we established criteria for how to evaluate the design, build, delivery process for construction projects, and that is something we're looking at as a potential for this project. And that would be the next step, is to bring a recommendation to pursue that forth, which would then lead to a RFQ process for selecting a design build team and moving forward. But Joe, I don't know if you wanted to add anything about that and maybe a timeline.
I would add that we had an opportunity just a couple of months ago to visit communities in Wilkesboro and Elkin, where they have taken advantage of the design build process for constructing trails in the vicinity of those communities. They found it to be a more efficient way to actually deliver trail building when there are 1,001 in the field decisions that are made every day about should the trail go this way or that way, or you have a corridor, but you're making decisions on the ground. And so the design build process allows you to streamline that decision making process. The more conventional way is with change orders, which take time and signatures and that sort of thing. And so the folks in Elkin recommended this as a way of efficiently building trails. And so we've had a lot of information shared with us from Elkin and also City of Concord, who did they actually build the fire station with design?
They built several fire stations
using the same process. And so we have, I think, a pretty good team of folks here that could potentially monitor the construction. And so we would hope to come to you in September with a description of how we would propose that the RFQ be released. And then once that potential design build firm is identified, we would be able to proceed with the construction of the trails.
Thank you. Board, any questions?
We use that process for something else that we have. What was that? Was it for the Yankee River Trail?
Well, we have not used it. We discussed it as the potential for fire station addition or new construction.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have not used it.
We have not used it.
Okay.
Yeah. The nice thing about it is you are able to select a contractor and engineer architect team based on qualifications, not necessarily on low bid. So you're able to review proposals and review qualifications and other projects that they've done and select the design build team that is best suited for the type of project that we have. Okay. All right, board, is there a motion to adopt project ordinance amendment 25-10.001?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Stanley, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Smoody. All in favor? Okay. All opposed? And that is approved unanimously. Thank you. We'll invite Mr. Blunt forward for a planning department report.
Mayor, members of the board, before I give you my normal disclaimer, I wanted to compliment you on being successful in making Spencer into a place that people want to live and open businesses. I shared with the mayor in an email, but on South Salisbury Avenue, the Stepping Out Dance Studio, which once had a big sinkhole, and we were worried that it would never be fixed and never be used. A local builder developer, Duke Brown, bought that building, took a risk, worked with the town. We worked with him. He found a leaking water line that had caused the sinkhole. He repaired that. He had to jack up the foundation to repair the damage to the building. Did a very sensitive rehab of the building, made it look very pretty. And then the next step is you put it on the market, and you put it on the market and sold it just like that. So we have a new business coming to town to occupy that building. In that process, right down the street, there's another commercial building that has not been in use for a good while. And he saw what was going on at the dance studio and walked down the street, talked to Mr. Brown. And now Mr. Brown is talking to him about rehabbing that building and adding another building on the back of that property.
Good.
And of course, I've told you about the psychologist looking at the 700 South Salisbury Avenue, the two-story building. He has submitted preliminary drawings to me to rehab that building as an office for his operation. So great things are happening.
We need to give the flowers to Mr. Dees. He helped bring Mr. Brown along.
That's right.
In those early conversations.
Good deal.
Rolodex never knows.
He was having trouble finding an insurer that would insure him with that sinkhole sitting out there. So we had to scramble around to help him with that. So good things are happening. The PCA building is another success story that most communities can't brag about, but a 1954 building that had been occupied and used well for a long time was vacated in December of last year. That building could have sat on the market for a decade before probably it was torn down and used for something else. Within 6 months, the owner marketed that building. I think a month after he put it on the market, Sherwin bought it. No. And now they're getting ready to move in and start their distribution operation. Mr. Ritchie told me today that the modeling will come later in the process. They're in a panic to get their distribution set up and moving because they're shutting down that other building. And with that, I will tell you that you have my written report. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Blunt. Board, any questions?
Come on, Ms. Sledge. I know you got a question.
Well, I noticed that you have a UNC student interview. The student interview, is that an internship or?
She was a master's student at UNC in planning, and one of their assignments was to interview active planners, and she chose the town of Spencer to include in her master's thesis as far as the stuff we're doing here. So we will be thanks.
Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Blunt.
Thank you.
We'll invite Chief File forward for our code enforcement and police report.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board. It's a busy week before school is starting back, so I'm going to keep my report short tonight, hopefully. We'll see. I provided the customary monthly report for code enforcement. This month we had 36 cases. There are 5 of those that are still open. 16 of those were voluntarily abated. And then looking at the year, we've had 231 cases thus far. you notice at the very bottom, I always try to point out something different on this, but we have had no notice of bills thus far this year, which means that we have got pretty good voluntary compliance. I will tell you that is kind of, it's probably the last month we'll see that. As we work towards the end, you know, I talk about how our voluntary abatement percentage usually stays around 80%. Some of those ones where we've been working with individual, we'll call them offenders, but citizens that have issues at their residence when they do not comply. Usually by this time of year, we'll start having to issue some bills out and doing some, going out and doing some abatements. So I know Preston's reached out to Joel already. I think we've got two pretty big ones that are coming up. So a couple trouble parcels we're going to do some abatements on. So we'll see bills, and unfortunately that may result in liens, but that is part of the process. So, but certainly happy with the way code enforcement is going, and I will try to answer any questions you have on that.
All right, thank you, Chief. Board, any questions on code enforcement? Okay, we'll move on to the police report.
All righty, for this month, we had 2,542 events. Obviously, I expect we'll see that pick up a little bit based upon school going back in, solely off of preventive measures. So, you know, our kind of standard operating procedure is every officer working every day will visit every school we have. So those school check numbers really kick up during the school year. So we'll kind of start seeing that occurring tomorrow. But other than that, the one thing I did want to point out, you know, our new officer that I had up here, Officer Campbell, last month, he said our town was too dark. So he put it on himself to go around and look for street lights, and he found 15 Duke Power lights that were not working. So all 15 of those have been fixed. So since last month, the town should be a little brighter at nighttime. So I wanted to thank him publicly for that. He took that on himself to go out and look for it, and he said that's something he had done at his previous agency in South Carolina, so we certainly appreciate him doing that. And I was surprised he found 15, but we know how they're scattered out throughout the city, and I think some of those were the flickering ones that we hear complaints about. So to my knowledge, he said Duke Power called him back and said all of them have been corrected. So wonderful. Good. But I will try to answer any questions you have on the PD report this month.
All right. Board, any police department questions?
Not a question, but I wanted to say that my next door neighbor stopped at his mailbox one day last week, and when he got out of the car, everything locked up with his keys in it, the phone in it, and everything running. And one of your police officers was kind enough to come and help him get back in his car.
Popped it right open. They're pretty good at that. Yeah. That's right. All righty, thank you.
Very good, thank you. All right, Chief Lanning, Fire Department report.
Good afternoon again. You have my prepared report before you. I did just want to make one change to that. The Inspect functional exercise, which was going to be a full-fledged exercise that is mandated by the state because it is a Tier 2 hazmat facility, has been canceled. The site safety individual, his mother died passed away. She's out of state. So we're postponing that just so he can grieve and be with his family. Myself and 3 of our employees will be leaving Thursday to go to the Safer Conference in Raleigh or return on Saturday. Other than that, everything is going well and going right along. I'll answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Chief. Board, any questions?
I did want to make a comment that I appreciated the invitation to fire camp graduation for anyone else who got to be there. It was lovely to see, and it was very nice weather.
It was.
Surprising.
I was worried, but it went
too.
very well. Absolutely. So, all right. Thank
and
you.
I saw some good social media shout outs to y'all from a citizen that had an injury, and she was very grateful and gracious. And I actually saw her out and about today. So
awesome.
Thank y'all for what you did there.
Any good publicity is favorable, right?
Exactly right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Taylor, Public Works report. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
It was a little windy out there earlier, huh?
A little, for sure. Just a few notes for the month. Our regular services are on schedule. Still want to remind citizens with the thunderstorms and stuff, please don't stack your stuff in the curb. We have spent a lot of time this month cleaning out storm drains. So and we'll be back at it again tomorrow. So, trash service will be running a day late the week of Labor Day, so it'll just slide one day. Bulkies will be picked up on Friday instead of on Thursday. You see the finalized list for the paving improvements. That has been turned over to Kinley Horn for the bid packet. I talked to them this morning, so they're finalizing it, and hopefully we'll have it back to them soon, so we can get the bids out. One correction, the intersection where it says the intersection of 16th, that's actually 15th. Myself and my fat finger syndrome got the wrong key. So that's the entrance to 15th Street. We have had several, trees over the last storm, and then, spent a great deal of time cleaning those up and cleaning up storm drains. So just be mindful. The date for the fall mulch giveaway has been set for October 3rd, which will be the first Saturday in October. That's our normal time. It just happens to work out. That's the same weekend Thomas is in town. So, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It hits every year. It's the same time. So, if we wait till the middle of October, a lot of times frost is already here and no one's going to be interested. One other note, Peter and I did attend the pre-con meeting for the water line that's coming through. They will be getting started soon. They were talking within weeks. They said, I think it was a 4-week lead time on pipe when he ordered. So that'll be the first. They will be sending out the messages. We put it in our newsletter, of course, but they'll be doing door hangers in the affected areas. And we'll do that as they move. So they will not leave ditches open. He does, their contracting group does not. So they'll only open what they're going to be able to cover. So.
And as a reminder for our residents, that'll be along. Yeah.
That is correct.
Rowan,
sorry.
Yes, it'll be from Rowan. It'll actually start on Jackson Street in Salisbury, which turns into Rowan and in Spencer. So it'll just cross the intersection and run all the way to 8th Street, just affecting Rowan Avenue, which is a busy avenue. But they'll do it block by block. It won't be too terrible. And I will answer any questions that you may have.
All right. Thank you. Board, any questions?
What about the picnic area in the Stamek Forest? Has that been with the tree that was?
The insurance company has come and looked. I don't know that we've received any information from them. As far as that goes, I'd like to get some information back from them before we start the actual cleanup in case they have to come back. But as soon as they notify us, we're ready to go and start getting the tree out of the way so we can, assess the true damage.
And the walk is what, next week in Stamek Forest?
We won't go to that part of it.
Okay.
But yes.
We can loop around. There's a way to loop around.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Any other questions?
All right.
All right.
Thank you all.
Sir. All right. Next, Mrs. King, Finance Report.
Hello again.
Hello.
As you see my report, bank reconciliations are up to date with July. Fiscal year 26 is now in a closed status. Whenever we go through the audit, there will be some adjusting entries there, so it's just in a closed status with revenues, expenditures, and that kind of thing. So if there's any adjusting entries from the auditor, we'll see those, and I will bring an amended fiscal year 26 closed report so you guys can see all the numbers once we get that. Preliminary audit work is still in progress. The auditors are scheduled to be here August the 14th through the 18th for on-site work. Sales and use tax for fiscal year 26, we received our last payment, and so fiscal year 26, we ended at $38,800 over budget for that. And that was a 3.2% increase over fiscal year 25. So that was nice. And as far as the financial summary report, just because it's August and there's really not much activity, There's not a lot of notes on, not any notes on there really. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
All right, thank you. Court, any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And last but not least, our active living report. Mrs. Ward.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. I neglected to include the updates from Joe, so that Mr. Morris, so those were provided this evening. Those are for the various projects that are in the works with the Children's Discovery and Play Garden. We heard about the Pollinator Garden,
And the wonderful archway.
yes, I was about to say, I was trying to remember, was that the end of last month or when did that happen? Yes, so that has occurred now. And things are moving along with the Grants Creek Blueway and the Rocky Branch Loop Trail, and design work for the Standback Forest Center. And as Alderwoman Sledge said, the neighborhood walk is on the 18th. The third Thursday concert, this next one is on August 20th, and Destiny Stone will be performing. And the Parks and Rec Advisory Board met on August 5th, and we didn't have a meeting in July, so I figured I'd include this. They heard a few presentations about there's a play festival that is in the works with a local playwright, and we're also starting to work with the not Spencer. His name is Spencer Dixon, but he works. He's with the Rowan Arts Council, and then there's also a mobile play program through the Rowan County Public Health and Salisbury Parks and Recreation Department, and also a story walk with through the public health. So they heard about those, and we're finalizing some details to bring before you all. And then Librarian McCraw was able to attend the Title I book giveaway that we heard about. That was last month at the regular meeting, and she had some books that were, in not as good condition or had been donated, but there were extras or not room, and so she was able to distribute more than 100 books from those, and it was estimated that there are about 400 people who attended that event, and she was able to get 27 people to complete applications for new library cards. So she was able to spread the word that we have a library and where it is and everything. Any questions?
Board, any questions?
I did have one. I see that Rowan County Creek Week is listed, but then the Race to the River Festival, have those not both been on at the same week?
We are doing it differently this year because we found so much success last year doing the Race to the River in October, because of the cooler weather and everything like that. But we have opted to separate that event as its own standalone event, so we can keep it in October. They moved Creek Week back up to September, and so because of that, now it's allowed us to do some other stuff with Creek Week in the community, and then have our Race to the River as a separate event.
Okay. And Parks and Recreation Advisory Board Vice Chair Dion Dixon is heading the Race to the River Festival again.
Other questions? All right. Thank you, Mrs. Ward. Mr. Franzese will move to the town manager report.
Thank you very much, Mayor and members of the board. There are several items that I wrote about in the report that we've touched on, and so I won't go over those all again, but I will note one of the things I wrote about was our collaboration with Salisbury, and you heard Joel talking about their project. We've also been working on our 17th Street Stormwater project and trying to continue to move that along to the point of getting it delivered. And there's been very good coordination with Salisbury in recent weeks about that. So I certainly wanted to express our appreciation to their team for the collaboration with us on all these projects and our ability to work together. Later this month, in case you haven't heard, there's a very big event that the Transportation Museum is planning to host to celebrate a continuation of the America 250 celebration. There's, I think, probably about 2 to 3 dozen locomotives, diesel locomotives from all over the country that are going to be here in special patriotic liveries that will celebrate the semi-quincentennial, or there's actually some that are going back to the bicentennial in 1976 that I think have been updated. So there's my understanding is it's going to be a very exciting time for the rail fan community that may be coming to town. There's been a lot of coordination between our team and the Transportation Museum's team, and making sure things are going to be handled in a safe way. So that's a lot of excitement. We've tried to proactively communicate with our businesses to make sure they're aware as well and able to take part in the visitor crowd that will be coming. I have here a flyer. Anna mentioned the concert next week. If anybody has a place that an extra flyer could go, I have one right here. But Destiny Stone will be our next performer for our pilot series of third Thursdays here in the park. We had a great first go at it in July with our DJ. We had a nice small crowd. We're hoping for a bigger crowd next week with Destiny Stone returning, and then we're planning on Catawba College having an event in September to round out the first go at this. And let's see what other things. I think those were the main topics I wanted to share, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Francis. Board, any questions on the manager's report? Okay. We will move on now to requests and comments from the board. We'll start with Mr. Miller tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight I want to talk about something about this piece of paper right here. I'm not really talking, if most of you know, this is the agenda for the night's meeting as far as I go. I'm not bragging on Mrs. Ward. She does an outstanding job with the graphics and props and everything else. But what I'm impressed with is what's going on inside this report. I mean, any town would be proud to say that we're adopting land that can be used for new development, as far as building new houses, for new places for people to live, which means new people moving in. Also, we adopted some land that we might be able to use for commercial build. And that's bringing in new jobs as far as that goes. I'd like to thank, we recognize the promotions with the fire department. Congratulations to them and the new people they've hired as far as that goes. Special thanks to the people with the master gardeners. And they're going to make the garden down there especially beautiful. Think of all the hard work Joe's done with the trails that we're planning as far as that goes. One adding on to what the Spencer Forest is and everything else. Thanks for sponsors like Duke Power and Piedmont Natural Gas for our continued concert, nights as far as that goes. These are all things any town would be real proud of, because these are special events. This is for a small little town. We should be very proud of all these little events. And I lay tribute to our staff, because the staff's done all this work, and this has come to fruition. And like I said, this is tremendous. People don't appreciate what the staff does, what they have accomplished as far as that goes. So, like I said, the agenda is important, but what's happened inside the agenda, that's what's so unique.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Ms. Moody.
That's a tough act to follow.
I know, right?
I think you summed it up well. Just reminding everyone that there's a lot of new students, maybe first year walking, or new drivers, or first time dropping your kid off in a school line. Just everyone be careful while you're out there. Although we have some great, nice new paving down in my neck of the woods, but there's going to be lots of kids with heavy backpacks. Those muscles probably relaxed over the summer, so just careful where you're driving.
Thank you, Ms. Moody. Mrs. Stanley.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, tough acts to follow, but I do want to remind everybody that August is a National Wellness Month. I just want everybody to be mindful about taking care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, sociably. Just taking care of yourself. Make sure that you're okay. It's okay to not have a good day. It's okay, but make sure that you're taking care of yourself. You're checking in and making sure that you are well, that you can be the best person that you can be. Make sure that everything you do is purposeful. So, other than that, I love my town. I love everybody that works in this town. I love everybody. I love how everybody comes together and make it unified as a family. I feel like I'm family as opposed to a neighbor. So thank you all for all your hard work, all of those people who have been promoted, all those people who are doing great things. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Stanley. Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, I must say, I am excited about the growth that's continuous throughout the town, be it projects, the staff. I'm thankful for the residents and those that are providing service to the town and the department heads as well as my constituents up here. And in reference to health, as Alderwoman Stanley stated, residents, make sure that you utilize the blood pressure machine that is at our library here in Spencer on the days that it's open, on Mondays and Tuesdays from 11 a.m. to 6 and Wednesdays from 12 to 5. You can utilize the blood pressure machine there to make sure that your blood pressure levels are okay. And they do also have them at surrounding libraries here in Rowan County as well. So that's very important. So that's there, for you all to utilize to make sure that your levels are okay, and if you need to go get checked out by a doctor or something of that nature. But health is wealth, and with that being said, hope everyone has a blessed evening and a prosperous school year for our scholars and the instructors, as well as the safety of them.
Thank you, sir. Alderwoman Sechrist.
I just have a couple of things. I want to encourage everyone in Spencer to go over to East Spencer on August the 29th. They're having a parade at 10 a.m. We are going to be represented in there. I think our fire truck with some Board of Alderman people will be in it. They're celebrating their 125th anniversary. So if we have people from Spencer over there supporting them, I think that would be wonderful. And they've got events going on all day at Royal Giants Park. If you've never visited Royal Giants Park, it is really, really nice. So take a chance to go participate in that. And I also wanted to mention this that I saw today on Facebook, and Pat gave me this copy. We are blessed with the businesses that are located in Spencer too, because not only are they here for business, they are doing so many things to improve our community through benevolence. Quinta, owner of Lemon Street, right down here, and Amy Ray up here at Pinocchio's have been sponsoring Table 10 for, I guess, a year now. A year. And it is basically pay what you can, all the way from zero to whatever. And you are invited to attend. I think it was held last night. Second Monday of each month. So if you haven't been, try to go. And now Quinta is taking this off. She's having a Silver Sprout Market. This is for people 60 and older. You have to bring your ID. And they are providing free food and essentials for senior citizens. So I'm sure you're going to see these flyers around town, and they're looking for volunteers to help with this. So any of you who can help, or if you're interested in participating, or if you have neighbors that need to know about this, make sure you tell them. This will be a monthly event also. So I think that's wonderful. And again, do anything you can this year. And it doesn't have to be every day, but any day, any hour, to support our children. I heard someone complain not long ago about children walking in the road. And I said, well, they shouldn't be walking in the road because that's a safety issue. I said, but there aren't sidewalks there. So it was in front of my house. I said, so where do you want them to walk? In the yard? I said, and they shouldn't be walking down the alleys because they're just not safe. They're not as kept up as well as they should be by some neighbors. I said, so really they're doing, making a pretty wise choice. I said, and I don't want to live in a neighborhood where I never see children. Because I really still appreciate young people, and I do see them as our promise and our future. And I think most of us do. So just protect them and help them in any way you can.
Thank you, Ms. Seekers. Ms. Sledge.
Ooh, where to start? Yesterday, I was able to attend the retirement party for the Chamber of Commerce director, Elaine Spalding, who is retiring at the end of this month. And Kristen Lynn from Catawba College has been chosen to be the new executive director there. So it's going to be a great continuation of the programs that Elaine has done. But I also wanted to say that they're looking for volunteers at the Dragon Boat Festival. So if you want to give a little bit of time and have a little bit of fun, you can sign up to volunteer for a shift or two down there. I have, like from 10 to 12 or something like that, to help with the raffle.
And it's a lot less exerting than actually participating.
Well, it is.
We all know
Good
that,
point.
right?
It is. It's much less strenuous, yes, but it's still hot. And speaking of volunteers, this is a call for volunteers for the Winterfest Committee. Not only the committee, but also volunteers for the event. Ms. Seacrest and I are going to be working hard and heavy in the next couple of months, weeks, whatever, to get people lined up because it takes a village to do this thing. So if you have interest in being on the committee, we have some things that we could use as committee members now as well. I attended a webinar this morning on media relations that was done by Central Atlanta Council, and I will be attending their meeting tomorrow afternoon in down in Charlotte. The topic for tomorrow is about data centers, and they have some speakers who are going to be providing factual information about the communities and data centers. So I'm really excited about that. Our staff has put together 2 applications for the Excellence in Regional Awards for Central Atlanta, one for Area on Aging and one for community involvement, I believe.
Improving quality of life.
Quality of life. Quality of life. So thank you all for doing that, for putting that together. As Steve said, we have a lot going on here in this town, and we have a lot of stories that can be shared, not only with our community, but with people outside of our immediate community to become that model town of North Carolina that our mayor has talked about. One last thing I will mention, we have received an invitation to the Velvet Hour Gala, which is a fundraiser for the new the new North Rowan Health Center that we attended the grand opening of, 2 months ago now? And this is a gala that they're holding the September the 25th in Concord. There's sponsorship levels and individual tickets as well. There's general admission and cocktails, an open bar, seated dinner with remarks and keynotes, a silent auction, and dancing with a live band, raffle, and silent auction announcements. So if you have interest in that, let me know. We have the information. The deadline for RSVP is August the 25th. And I think that's all I have to say. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Sledge, and thank you, board members. Lots of good stuff happening, active community with lots to celebrate and be thankful for. With that, we have reached the point in our agenda where there is a need to go into executive session this evening. We need to go into executive session per North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, Section A3, 4, and potentially 5. So if there is a motion to go into executive session, we'll accept that now.
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sledge. All in favor? All right. We are in executive session. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. We appreciate it. Yeah, we'll take a moment.